Hi everyone, welcome to the Emporium Outdoors. My name is Michael and today we have Esme with us. She's just down below you. So this is the camping trip the internet voted for. So all my viewers put in their votes for which type of camping they'd like to see, and it came out as a hot tent, which is kind of nice. The weather today is about -9, so not too cold. Overnight temperatures probably won't go any lower down. To actually heat up slightly during the day. The vote for the hot tent was actually quite surprising. I think we had the One Tiger's Smoky Teepee hot tent, the Cabela's ice fishing tent, and the Snow Tracker tent, which I was sure was going to win. But overall, you wanted to see the Cabela's ice tent again, so that's what we have with us today. It is a little bit windy and it is scheduled to snow in a little while, so we'll see how that works, but not for too long. What's that? Come on, up. Go on, up. Come on. She obviously wanted to get in the picture. Oh, good girl. So we are camping in a new area that we haven't camped in before, so we're very excited about that. I have the game camera with me, which I want to set up and see if we can get some good shots of some wildlife. And we're testing out a new One Tiger's down sleeping bag. And it's only rated to -10 Celsius, so we're pretty much on the limit. So even though we're in a hot tent, if the stove goes out during the night, which sometimes it does, and I just let it go, we're going to be testing that to see whether it actually does hit -10 or thereabouts. So that's going to be pretty exciting. So if all that sounds like fun and you'd like to join us, then you're more than welcome. You ready, Iz? Ready for the adventure? So about halfway through the journey to the new camping spot, it's been pretty easy going. The snow was actually very light, and we just thought it'd take a bit of a break. Looking out for a special tree my friend always tells me for me to look out for, and it's one with a branch that goes straight across. It's very unusual. Haven't come across it yet, but I'll keep my eyes peeled. And Esme's just having a quick scoot around. I put her jacket on today, even though it's probably not necessary, but it actually protects her front from all the birds and stuff that she picks up. This is a nice part of the forest. I like it. Oh, there's the camp robin. So we have everything packed up on the back of the machine. You can see lots of room, lots of storage. This really is a great machine if you want to actually get out and carry lots of gear. It's probably, I guess I'm slightly biased, but I don't think there's anything quite has the capacity of this machine. I could be wrong. I think maybe the Yamaha Viking might be close. My friend has one of those. But I think it's the box is actually much bigger than the Polaris Ranger, I think. So, alright, well, we'll keep going on, and if anything happens on the journey, I'll let you know, especially that tree. we've arrived without any incident. The area is just as I thought it was last time I did a quick visit, and it looked quite promising for camping, and I'll show you around in a second. Actually, let's do that now. So this is the direction we just came from, and it's a trail off a slightly larger trail, and no one's been down here since I was last here a couple of weeks ago. That goes up to a pasture just up here. I think it's an old well site, but it's hard to tell. And then there's a stand of mixed trees just here. Lots of blowdown. And we have lots of birch as well around here, which is really nice. Might be able to find a dead standing birch. I want to be away from these trees if there's so much blowdown. If it does get windy, which is not scheduled to, then I want to be out of the way of that. The snow is ankle deep. So what I'm going to do is turn the machine around and then find a flat spot and get set up. I have to do a little bit of shoveling, but not too much. So I am still using my Princess Auto long-handled snow shovel, which is coming extremely useful, and it still looks like brand new. Awesome. And this is why I have a long-handled shovel, no bending down. Well, that's all the tent set up. We just have all the insides to put in. Are you coming in? A little bit of snow inside, but I think it should pack down. Yeah, this is such a great starter tent if you really want to get into winter camping. When it's on sale, it's very, very affordable. And really all you're missing after that is a stove. Okay, speaking of which, next thing. So first of all, this is my homemade stove jack. So this is just a bit of fire blanket you can get for the kitchen with some high temperature sealant to seal the hole. You basically cut the shape. In this case, I put Velcro down each side. This matches exactly the panel that was removed. And then put a ring of sealant when you need it, high temperature sealant, and then once it's dried you can just cut out the center. It will fray, but it won't go very far. Perfect. This is what I made it out from. So I do keep another length for under the stove. It helps it keep from smouldering anything that might be underneath. So important things about setting up your stove. Number one, try and get it level, or at least the back slightly higher, so that there's a natural draw at the chimney. May shift during use because as the ground melts it may move around, so you may have to prop it up at some point. But something just to keep an eye on. So on my stove, I did make a false bottom to stop the bottom getting burnt out. It's the weakest part of the stove, is as it heats and cools, especially the bottom where the coals are, the bottom will deform quite a bit and eventually it'll just burn out and split. My other quick tip is to always screw your stove pipes together. It's more than once I've had it with the stove pipes disconnected and it smokes the tent out. If you're asleep, it's not going to be good for you. Hopefully you'll wake up, or you might just die and become overcome by the smoke. So as a bare minimum, I would screw in at least all the parts that lead to the outside. One other area is where this connects to the stove. I have also seen it when the stove pipe's been screwed together. This will sometimes lift out on a windy day. So this is something I have to change anyway. Another safety feature. I'm going to get on and screw all this together. Oh, another little tip. I keep a screwdriver for all my screws and a couple of very strong magnets, and then I never lose the screws. Also magnetizes the screwdriver. So we're all set up now. Found a new use for my cheap long handle snow shovel. I think what I'm going to do is pop a couple of holes in either side. Then I can wrap a little piece of copper over the top. But I think that'll work for tonight. There's hardly any weight on that stove pipe. That's awesome. So this is the new sleeping bag I'm going with. This is the One Tigress. I believe it's a -10 down sleeping bag. Not too bad. It's pretty compressed. There's probably a little bit more room in there. It comes in a nice stuff sack. There you go. We'll just have to let this fluff up for a little while. So as you can see, it's a mummy style sleeping bag. I tend to prefer the square ones, but I'm actually trying out a different sleep system tonight. With Esme, that is. Seems like a cotton nylon mix inner. It does have a nice shoulder baffle, velcro. Yeah, it's never been out of the packet, so it's going to take some fluffing to do, I think. Ideally, if you put these in the dryer before you use them, then kind of let them fluff out and then pack them away. When they're new, that kind of gives you a head start, but they will naturally unpack themselves over time. So let's fill this up. So we're almost set up now actually. Not much left to do. Esme's found the bed already. Yes. Just got to get the wood. Cut enough for tonight. Maybe store a little bit. And then we'll be all set. It's kind of a strange day today. It's kind of overcast. Looks like it wants to snow. Can't decide. But just very calm. And it's New Year's Day. So Happy New Year. Yes. Alrighty, that wood's not going to cut itself. So this spruce is pretty fresh, but I hate to see it kind of go to waste, so I'll try and use some of it, mix it in with some drier material, and then the rest I can stack away and let it dry over time. But yeah, we'll kind of knock off what we can here and buck up the rest. So I don't think we'll need that much wood tonight. We have this kind of wet wood. Typically, a piece this size I wouldn't split if it was dry. Wood in the round burns for much longer at night, so I tend to leave this size and this size. These are your favorite ones. You can stack these overnight. You can get quite a lot of wood in the stove, and it'll burn a lot longer than splitting it. Splitting it is only really done to dry the wood or to make it small enough in order to get into the stove. But if the stuff's already dry, then burning the bark first off and then working its way through will get the most heat for the longest period out of the wood. So I'll try and split some of these pieces, but they are going to be difficult. I do have some dry wood. This stuff is feather light. I'm going to keep the sticks for that too. And I'll probably split some of this, but try and keep the rest of it round if I can. So let's get started. Oh, I am using the Halterfers small splitting axe today. Let's see how we get on. Yeah, I'm kind of still struggling with the shoulder, so my accuracy isn't what it normally is. Great. I think that's done. I think it's probably enough here for the night, maybe not the morning. So I think I might get the tent warmed up and then go out and get a little bit more. I think that's going to be my plan. But we've got enough to get going. So I'm just setting up my Sportneer chair, and I have my chair buddies on the bottom. Just wanted to show you how it performed in snow. So you can see it's pretty soft snow, not particularly deep, but it doesn't sink, which is really good. I think the manufacturer says they're not good below 0 Celsius, but I haven't had any problems with them so far, and they've held up quite well. I've used these on almost every camping trip, so yeah, it's pretty good. I do like this chair. Compared to the Helinox Chair Zero I own, I always take this one. I never take the Zero. I think it's because this one is just slightly more comfortable and it feels more rigid. And I'm like just over 200 pounds, so I'm not super light. About 20 pounds heavier for 2020. It's nice just to be able to relax though. Yeah, so if you like the chair buddies, I'll put a link in the description. It's one of the few UK manufacturers of sport equipment. It's not made in China, it's made in Great Britain. So if you're interested, then there'll be a link. What do you want? Oh, you want the fire lit? You want the fire? Come on, up. She's not exactly a lap dog. Okay. Okay, let's quickly go over some of the features of the Cabela's wide bottom ice fishing tent. This is the insulated version. So it does have like a padded outer. It does have snow skirts, which I've got kind of tucked under at the moment. And also these tie out points. These handles are used to kind of pull out the sides, but there's also a strap and a pocket, which are really good. Has vents at the top, 2 windows either side, and then 4 of these windows all the way around. It's a better view of the snow skirt. This is the second door on the other side. And the plastic window. Another vent. At the top window. This is where I have my hot tent. This is a homemade stove jack. Very simple. My Princess Auto long-handled snow shovel just provides some support. The other important feature is you have an opening for your gas line or electrical cord. You have a generator outside. And then inside, go on, Ez. Got quite a lot of stuff in here. So, up, Ez. Up. So this is my stove that I have. Also have a little table over there. Come on, Ez. It's my Helinox one high cot tent. Good girl. I have a chair in here, my ice cooler, and I've got a few things to dry out. And there's the windows up top. And it does come with this net kind of setup. To be honest, I've never figured out how this actually goes. It never really made sense. I just tend to hook it up like this. It's a great place near the fire where I can just kind of get all the heat and it's out of the way. Yeah, I have no idea where it goes. If you have one of these tents and you figured it out, let me know. So my third tip is to add a stove jack temperature gauge. This will tell you how much heat is being produced by the stove and whether it's hot enough or too hot, and it will help you make the most of your wood, and it will make sure that you don't create too much creosote inside the stovepipe. If you're burning stuff like this, which is spruce or pine. So yeah, that's a quick look around. It's Esme. Good girl, Ez. So this is my new reindeer skin, my empty reindeer that my wife bought me for Christmas. So it's a great gift and somehow old treasure. It's such a beautiful hide, and it's also weatherproofed on the bottom. I bought this, or my wife got this from Halford Hides in Edmonton, if you know it. Online they were like $250 Canadian. Halford Hides was $150. So it's Amazon versus local stores, and that's why you should always buy local wherever you can. Okay, so this is how I like to load my stove initially. This is dry wood. Okay, this is wet. So from earlier, I'm just going to get the worst wood that I have. I'm going to put that on either side of the stove. I do have some birch bark that I picked up earlier. Not a huge amount, but should be enough. This is dry. Birch bark underneath. I'm just going to get ready with some small pieces. I'm just going to put these across the top. Yes, this is dry. It's wet. It's dry. I'm also going to make sure the vent is fully open. I've got some extra pieces I can just start lobbing in there. It's a nice piece. It's nice and dry. So today I'm going to use my little peanut lighter I got from my friend Dave. Thanks, Dave. And I'm just going to light that. So that's caught quite well, but you can see some smoke coming out the front. So what I'm trying to do is just balance. There'll be a point where that smoke just starts to get drawn back in. See it? A little bit coming out. And that's where you want to get it. That's the maximum draw. And it really helps with starting the stove up. Initially the stove won't draw properly because the temperature of the pipe has got cool air in it, cold air, so you need to heat the pipe up to allow the air to come out because it's going to be denser at the top. But once you've got that initial kind of warming set up, it'll draw quite well. Okay, let's take a look inside. Yep, she's starting to go. So I've got some larger pieces now. I'm just going to start feeding up on top, kind of across the ways. That's why I put these 2 logs in here. It's to support these other logs on top. I'm going to build like a little Jenga tower. Okay, we added a bit too much wood at the same time. Just gonna see if I can draw the stove. See how it dies down? Get that draw. Yeah, it's starting to come back to life now. So at this point, the stove, with this much oxygen coming in, it's just going to burn through the wood in no time at all. So this is why it's only kind of, I keep the door open during its starting cycle. So the way the dampers work, so there's a bit of a mystery to me as well for some time, but I'll tell you what I've learned. So the front damper overall will control the amount of oxygen being drawn into the stove. So without oxygen, the stove won't burn whatsoever. So by controlling this, you control the amount of burn within the stove. So that's pretty straightforward. More oxygen, quicker burn, and it will heat up to a higher temperature. More oxygen obviously increases the temperature of the burn. So you can limit how much oxygen is drawn in, and that will dampen the fire down, make it not burn as quickly. However, the upper damper also controls how much burn is available too. So what you want is to keep as much heat inside of this box as possible without smothering the stove. So once the fire's going, what I'll do is turn this damper to about 45 degrees, and what that does is it creates a slight pressure inside the stove to retain the heat, stops all the heat traversing up the stove pipe and exiting the stove. So what you're trying to do is keep it as much heat balanced so it doesn't create too much oxygen is drawn in and a back pressure which will come forward, but you want to kind of balance a smolder, a steady smolder with the fire. So you want to keep heat in, not too much oxygen that the back pressure is going to come forward, and by balancing the two together you can just get it precisely. It takes a little bit of practice, but once you have it down you can extend the burn of this stove. This is the Nyko, I think it's the Traveler, but it's sold by Snow Trekker, so it's slightly different. Has these little legs where you can put wood through the legs here, logs through here, to keep it up off the snow, which is a great idea. There's a little side table, but you should get out 2 hours of a good burn, and then you should have enough coals in the bottom to put more wood in and bring it back to life again. So that's what's capable with the stove. With hardwoods it may be longer, maybe slightly less if you have super dry wood and just wants to burn. But if you mix your wood between kind of some wet and some dry, you'll get the most out of it. And again, if you keep these ones in the round, the smaller ones, kind of wrist thickness and slightly above, you'll extend the burn time too. With this wetter stuff, I'll probably stack it along the stove, just away from it while I'm awake, obviously not during sleep, and try and dry that out slightly. So we've got pretty much a perfect burn right there. It's a little bit low, but you can see I've got the upper damper kind of 45 degrees and the lower damper probably, let's say about half closed. And what I'll do is kind of watch that needle if I need just a little bit more oxygen. And I'll possibly just give it a touch right there. And that's the game for the evening, is to try and keep the yellow needle in the yellow bar. So I've just opened up the stove all the way, put the back vent all the way open and the front all the way open. And we'll try and raise this temperature in the yellow. Okay, so that's somewhere where I want it to be. So I'm just going to close that down slightly. And what I'll do now is just kind of monitor the gauge, and I'll kind of adjust things as we go along. This really ups the amount of heat that comes out the top. But I don't want the pressure in here to build up too much, or not enough combustion to go through to kill the fire just yet. But really this one controls how much heat comes out the top. And that's pretty much perfect right there. I think I might just give it a little bit more that way. Well, good morning everyone. We had a very comfortable night. We actually let the stove go out for most of the night, so we've still got plenty of wood left. Sleeping didn't work out the way I expected. So how it worked out is I actually slept under the reindeer skin most of the night, and Esme slept in the sleeping bag. So I'll have to ask her how it went with the -10, but it wasn't cold. I had my Helicon Tex swag membrane over the top, and the flare, and I was actually quite warm, so it worked out really well. I think I've got to design a sleeping bag that's for people and dogs. I know it's a very niche market, but there is literally nothing out there. It'd be so nice just to have something that worked perfectly, designed for. Let's see if I can. Esme. No, she's just down here. Doesn't want to get up. But she was very cozy last night. She actually kept me warm as well. Just kind of my back. But yeah, love this reindeer skin. Very good. Okay, so we're gonna get up pretty soon. I started the fire already, so I could warm up all the cameras and such. And we're gonna have some breakfast. But I'm not in a rush today, so Saturday, nowhere to go really. Oh, and these things are, I know, very 1970s aerobics. But I bought this thing. It's like a sleeping headband thing. Has speakers in it. Looks a bit crazy. But I really love it. I've had the Apple AirPods, both versions, the Pros and the regular ones, for many years, and they just hurt my ears when I sleep because they just press in, or you just have one in and you lose them and whatever. I found this is the best thing to sleep in if you like to listen to podcasts or music when you go to sleep. It's not a sponsored thing, but I've bought all my family these because I thought it was so great. It lasts all night. It's really cool. You have to kind of move them around a little bit to get them on your ears. They kind of look a little bit silly, but they work really well. You can kind of put the volume up and down from the button at the front, turn them on and off, etc. They're like $30, I think, compared to what are earpods, like $250, $300, something like that. Like I say, I brought my earpods with me as well, but I way prefer these personally. The sound's maybe not as good, but it's way more comfortable to sleep in. They don't dig into your ears. So, all right, so I'm going to relax for a little while, and then I'm going to think about getting up. Sea sausages. Yeah, I think with the one tigress we do have some down migration, and hopefully you can see that. So that's unfortunate. Normally that's caused by they don't use a higher weave count fabric on the inside, and the down will just literally escape. Just like that. So I think they need to make some changes to this bag, maybe. I can't actually recommend it at this time. If you're losing that amount of down, it doesn't stop. That's the problem. So this will shed a small amount. But that'll continue over the life of the bag, unfortunately. So, not good. Not good. Well, that's breakfast, and got my instant French vanilla. Not as good as the Black Rifle, for sure. Sausage sandwich. So the time is about 10:15, so I'm going to start thinking about packing up pretty soon. So I might go cut some more wood this morning and stack it for next time, because this is quite a good spot. But first I'm going to enjoy my coffee and my other sausage and egg. Tastes very good. So we're all packed up, ready for the off. We had a really good night's sleep, tested out some new equipment, and we had a pretty good time, didn't we? Okay, not all of us, I guess. So we're going to leave the video here, so Happy New Year. Until next time, take care. And as always, thank you very much for watching. If you like my videos, leave me a comment, maybe a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe.